Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. Hope you're all keeping well who's listening. My name's Stephen, the host of the Endless Celts, and I'm glad to be joined by Francis, my deadly duo partner. How are you?
Yeah, all good, Stephen. All good. Been home this week from my work and that, not gallivanting up and down the UK. So it's a nice wee treat being back with the family and that for a change.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But our boys have left us yet again, left us all in the lurch, and I'm only joking. Everyone has different things going on, but the listeners are stuck with us too, so we'll crack on into it.
They'll just need to talk with us.
We'll start with the unusual kickoff at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, where Celtic comfortably won 2-0 against their old foes, Ferancvaros. And Francis, to be honest, it was probably one of the most controlled performances I've seen Celtic do in Europe in a long, long time. Obviously, you look back at the games against Betis and Leverkusen, albeit Betis would create a few chances, but we were fish out of water in some parts of that game. But this game at home, I thought we were controlled, and the way we played, especially the goals, we'll touch upon. Obviously, Jada's beautiful pass to Kyogo, which was a fantastic finish by him as well. But before we get stuck into that, what was your overall take from that performance?
Well, without sounding doom and gloom, Stephen, it's a game a team like Celtic should be winning. Like, Celtic should be winning against teams like Ferancvaros, with all due respect to them. But to then look at more realistically, it's where we are. It's nice to get off the mark and stuff in Europe now, and hopefully we can pick up 3 points away to Ferancvaros and ideally try and get second in the group. But yeah, the game, like you say, I think you summed up perfectly well. Was what like I've only seen the highlights of the first half due to work, but I've seen the full second half, and the second half we absolutely dominated. Really, they never really came out or like caught us on the attack. They had moments. Starfelt had a moment, but very a wee slight back pass. But Joe Hart was out quick. Then Ralston had a good recovery. I think when it was just at 1-0. So there was a couple of wee moments that Joe Hart made a good save in the first half. But I think like you said, Stephen, mate, it was as comfy as a 2-0 win, 2-0 victory you'll possibly get in Europe.
Well, I'm glad you actually said that about we should be beating teams like Ferancvaros, and from a Celtic point of view, I hate speaking like that, but it's just the way we've been over the last 18 to 20 months, and that obviously includes the previous managers reign that as well. It just seems to be in European football, we've kind of hit a brick wall or a glass ceiling. But what I've seen on the performance, as you said, it was controlled, albeit it wasn't the kind of the free flowing Celtic that Postecoglou claims that he wants to play. It was a far more kind of like not defensive but caution, I would say, from it. And you've seen Mcgregor return obviously to the base of the midfield, and I thought he played fantastically well. And he controlled it there. But I said to you guys beforehand, I was surprised he didn't put Beaton in from the start. Did you think he would have went that way, just for a wee bit more solidity in midfield?
Well, I suppose you could maybe look at the Motherwell game, and obviously Rogic and Turnbull started there, but in all due respect to Motherwell, Ferancvaros are a better team. But equally, you were away from home there, where I would have thought a Beaton would have been more suited against a Motherwell away from home with a tighter park. You could argue being at Parkhead, you've got a bigger park, but still, yeah, I feel expected a Beaton to be in there, Stephen. I kind of was wanting that, but here we are after a couple of days after it, and it's one of the ones that there's a reason why we're on the podcast and not on the touchline, shall we say?
Aye, well, that's true. On Football Manager, I'm the touchline, but that's enough for
me. Yeah.
But like as you said, we'll touch upon the goals. And obviously, first of all, the first half ended 0-8, and it wasn't really eventful. As I said, it was controlled by Celtic, and then we look forward into the second half. And I think many Celtic fans were saying we need to be quicker, far more quicker in possession, get the ball to the pitch, and we've seen that from the get go, and not more so from Jada, basically from the deep end of his own pitch, from the Celtic end. He picked the ball up and passed two players, kind of on the outside, and he looked up and he seen the man himself, Kyogo, making that dart and run. And that's another thing, Francis, as well. Kyogo makes them runs all the time, but the players don't seem to pick him out. When you watch him, I'm watching him on a TV camera, so I'm not really seeing the whole benefit in the stadium, but his movement's fantastic. He's always looking for the ball, and even Jada said it in his interview that Kyogo's movement is the best he's seen, who he's played with currently in his professional career. But we'll speak about the goal first in terms of the build-up. And Jada pinged that ball. There's so many angles of it. I've watched it like 15, 16 times. It's unbelievable. If that ball was played by anyone else in the world at another big club, it'd be talked about for weeks.
Yeah.
And Kyogo's touch, he just cushions it in front of him, and you're thinking to yourself, is he going to try and chip the keeper? But he just cushions it past him like a pass in the bottom right corner. It was a fantastic team goal, wasn't it? Well, albeit the majority of the team goal was the Kyogo and Jada. Just fantastic.
Yeah, it was. It's like you, Stephen. I've watched it countless times. I honestly don't know how many times I've watched it, and it was a good goal considering we had the ball in our own box. Starfelt had it, not under great pressure at the time, but Ferancvaros were trying to sort of pin us into the corner, and he just lays it off to Montgomery. No, I think it was Jota, sorry, and I think it was Jota and Montgomery playing a nice wee 1-2 that just simple schoolboy sort of football, if you like, but it looks brilliant when it comes off just in the wee triangle, and it just released them, and Kyogo makes that run, and I would like to say Kyogo makes it easier for Jota, but you've still got to play the pass, and it's the way he's played the pass. He could have maybe tried to play it along the ground, but then it probably makes it easier for the defender to cut it out, or he could have played it high over the top that maybe gives the keeper and defenders again a chance. But he's actually pinged it in and said to Kyogo Kyogo's not had to break stride, and he's just, as I say, played the pass, and it's saying to Kyogo, right, this is all on you. If you don't get your touch away, this is your fault. He couldn't have played the pass any better, I don't think. And then Kyogo's touch is just, it's absolutely fun. It's as good as the pass. And then the keeper's positioning maybe is at question, but that could be down to the fact that he's not expecting that pass and the run for Kyogo. And then, like you said, that Kyogo's just passed the ball in. But I think that was more down to the keeper's positioning when you see when Kyogo receives the ball, the keeper's kind of in no man's land away out sort of the right of what would be his box. So Kyogo's got almost the middle to the very left of the goal to the keeper's left to actually aim at. And it's an intelligent finish. He knows he doesn't need to lash at it. It's just a wee side footer and it's in. And it was a really intelligent finish from Kyogo. But like you say, it's the goal. It was brilliant. I could watch it 100 times more, Stephen, and be impressed each time.
Here. I'm probably going to watch it tonight as well. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them things. It was Jota played that backspin, or it does sit perfectly for Kyogo to take that ball in his first touch, and the way he passes it around. And see, to be honest, obviously Kyogo we've seen before. He's kind of snats at opportunities and he works off the last man and rebounds and stuff. That was the first time I've properly seen him composed like that.
Yeah,
where like time stood still and he just cushioned it in the bottom right hand corner, and it was fantastic. And the eruption in the stadium, that's what the players needed. They needed that lift.
Yeah.
And obviously, you look ahead to the second goal, which was a wee bit more messy. But again, it was a goal, and they give it to David Turnbull. Now it's down as an own goal officially. But again, I think for me, it was a David Turnbull goal that came off his knee quite clearly in the replays. But UEFA being UEFA, I mean, they won't make many friends at Celtic Park by that banner anyway.
I know.
But in terms of the second half, we've seen a wee bit more attacking football, and obviously Kyogo and Jota are a big part of that. But one thing I want to touch upon, and we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, is Abada. And again, for me, it just seemed another game that kind of passed him by. I don't know what it is. Yes, he's come in, he's made a great impact. I think he scored 5 or 6 goals, assisted as many as well. But the last 2 or 3 weeks in terms of club football, he's just been off it.
Sorry, what was? I would. He has been off it, Stephen. Like the guy is still only 20-year-old. He's coming into a new culture, new team, and that it maybe can't be easy. And he probably didn't expect the start he's had. Far less the Celtic fans expecting the start. And I think he's a victim of his own success right now with how well he has started. He's became a victim of that. And also we've not really got anyone that can maybe play out there in his place. And I think that's a problem from not saying that his standards have dropped, but the guy has played probably way more football than Postecoglou wants him to play at this stage. So he could really be doing with having somebody competing with him out there. Maybe the return of Mikey Johnson could help that, because we know Jota can go over on the right and play and perform just as well. He performed really well against Batiste over there. So, I mean, fingers crossed. Yeah, you're asking a lot for Mikey Johnson to stay fit, but even if he can stay fit for 3 or 4 weeks, it can maybe let you play Mikey Johnson out on the left and Jota on the right, and it gives a bad. I just think the guy needs a rest. I don't want to criticise him too much, Stephen, but he hasn't been on at the last 4 or 5 games anyway.
It's from my point of view, it's not criticising. It's just pointing out the things we can see quite clearly on the pitch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's not really coming in the box as much as he did at the start. He's not following up with rebounds. When he scored all them goals, were all from rebounds, to be fair. Yeah. And even when he's one-on-one with a defender, I don't know if anyone would have the stats on this, but I say his dribble rate isn't that good because he very rarely gets by the man. Mm. And as you said, he might have not expected to come into Celtic and be a first choice right away, but it was the kind of place we were in. We had no James Forrest, and as you said, Mikey Johnson has only come back now. And I actually seen a funny tweet about that. They said, brilliant cameo appearance by Mikey Johnson. Let's hope he can build on it in his next one in 2026.
To be fair, he actually played okay to Mikey Johnson when he came on. Yeah. I think all the substitutes they all played their part, to be fair.
There's no doubt in my mind that if Mikey Johnson got rid of them injury issues, he would be one of our star players easily, because he's off the mold of a Jota. I'm not saying he's as good as Jota, but it's tricky feet to see inside the box. I've seen him score goals that no one else can. He takes the ball, and he runs the pace, and he just takes players out of the game. He eliminates them, and that's the way I think Postecoglou wants his wide men being. And just at the minute, Abada isn't being that for me. I'm not being critical of the guy. I just think he's probably jaded within himself. He's probably tired and needs a break because he started basically every game since he's come in. But I want to go back to Jota, and I don't know if you've seen this, but we touched upon the fact that Benfica have this loan page where they watch their star young players out on loan to European teams, wherever it may be. And apparently the fans are giving the club stick. And there was one comment in particular that said, I hope this smears shite on their faces because we have Jota and they don't. And obviously, we all know Benfica are a squad packed with talents from all around Europe and world football. But just to touch upon it again, when it comes to January, the first call you're making as Postecoglou is our new chief executive, whoever it is, Michael Nicholson, press the button and get the Jota deal done. Would you be doing that?
Yeah, I would be. I mean, if they do a GoFundMe page, I'll be chipping in and everything if they actually need to try and find the $6.5 million. If that seems to be the figure that is agreed in the sort of the loan deal with the option to buy. So yeah, I'd be doing everything in my power. I'd be buttering Jota up, just everything. How you doing? Where's your head at? Just they probably are doing that, but I mean, imagine Postecoglou will be doing that, and you've just got to players like that. I feel in recent years haven't came about a lot. Like Scott Sinclair was maybe the last guy that's maybe had that sort of a impact as a winger, just out wide and goes by boys. James Forrest is the same, but I think James Forrest maybe sort of guilty of being there for a long period of time, and just he's in with the woodwork, if you like, and because Sinclair was a new player and Jota's a new player, it's getting the fans excited about someone else. So yeah, I'd definitely be doing all I can to say, look, we want you to stay here, and just do whatever we can to get a deal. But there's one big factor is, does Jota want to stay? If he keeps performing like this, there'll be more than Celtic probably looking at him. Benfica might go, hold on, we made a mistake the last 2 seasons by sending this boy on loan, because he is performing in Europe, and that's where he's got to get recognised. If he keeps on turning in performances like that in Europe, other teams will look at him. Obviously, I'm guessing with the loan deal, obviously we have the right to buy. I'm assuming that means we've got first option up till a certain date, that we'll have first option on him. But you don't really know all the inside details of the deal, apart from we know we have agreed a fee to make the deal permanent. But does that mean we've got first option come the end of the season if we let it drag on to then or whatever? So yeah, I'd be doing everything I can to make sure he knows he's wanted at Celtic. I think he'll know the fans want him to stay, and you would like to think that's an important thing. But obviously, players want to work under a manager that they enjoy working with, and they want to be in a surrounding and stuff that they're comfy with. So I'd be trying to just lay out the red carpet, so to speak. And equally, I'd be doing the same with Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think he has had a great impact as well. I just don't know what the figure is involved in that one. That nobody seems to. I've never really heard a figure in that one, but certainly with Jota, just like we've said plenty of times, he's the type of Celtic players you want. He just gets the ball, go and buy him boys and that. The McGeady type player gets bums off seats. So yeah, just do what we can. Absolutely do what you can to get that deal done.
I would like to think, as you said, we do have first refusal. Usually that's how loan deals work out, isn't it? The club who has him gets the choice, and then, as you said, it goes past a certain date, and other teams can come in for that player. But I think as well, Postecoglou seems to be that type of guy that these players he's currently assembled. Now, arguments can be made if they were Postecoglou signings, do you know what I mean? But
I don't think everybody that's come in has been Postecoglou saying, but Jota definitely is across that type of player.
But this is what I'm saying. Like the likes of the Kyogo, Jada, even as you said, Vickers and Abada as well. They seem to want run through brick walls for Postecoglou, and that's the type of player we need even more so now, especially in the transition. Even though I hate using that phrase of word, but
as a transition, you've got to, as much as you hate it, we are in one. You just can't ignore it.
Oh, 100%. But you made a great point at the start of the show when you said Celtic should be beating teams like Ferancvaros. I mean, and that's the way I feel about the league situation, and hopefully the kind of form we've been showing in the league sticks with us, and we go on a run, which would be fantastic. But you did talk about Cameron Carter-Vickers. I'm going to come on to him, but another player I want to mention is Mcgregor, the skipper. And I just thought, even though he missed a penalty, and I don't understand why he took it, because he's very rarely took a penalty for Celtic, but apart from that, it was a fantastic performance, in my opinion. He showed leadership. He showed just an example to every player on the pitch. I was having this discussion with a friend of mine, and I was saying to him that not all captains need to be like a Scott Brown when they're shouting and motivating. Do you know what I mean? You can have a captain who leads by example on the pitch, and I thought Conor McGregor exemplified that. He just played it nice and neat. He was at the base of the midfield, and he controlled that game for me. And apart from Jada, I think he would have been probably man of the match, to be fair. And it's just the way we're used to seeing Conor McGregor play. There's always that argument, can he do that role? But that game, he certainly proved he can, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all know Conor McGregor's a fantastic football player. And not just, he's good with the ball. He sees a pass, he can score. He's comfortable on the ball. He can run with the ball and break the lines in midfield and get you up the park sometimes if you're a wee bit under pressure. He's got that nice footwork to get away from some players. So for me, performances like the other night don't surprise me. Callum McGregor, I know he's got that in his locker, but like you say, as a leader, like Williams touched on it plenty of times, just saying that he feels it's being the captain has brung McGregor on leaps and bounds. He's grew into the role, and I couldn't agree more. Like you say, not all good captains have to shout and bawl and tell boys where they need to be and things like that. That's just the type of player Scott Brown was. That was him. That made him. Callum McGregor is slightly different. Not to say that Scott Brown didn't do it with performances, but you didn't want Callum McGregor suddenly trying to shout and ball at everybody. And you're like, well, stop trying to be Scott Brown, be your own captain. And I think he's doing it. I mean, he does. You do see him shouting out orders, pointing, telling folk where to be. He's obviously taking a bit more responsibility on, and a lot of that could be down to just helping the new manager come in as well. Which is, if he's doing something like that, that just shows you the type of leader he is. If he's willing to go, right, I'll help this guy. I want this Celtic to be a success. This guy wants Celtic to be a success, so I'll do all I can to help him. That, but yeah, I thought it was fantastic again the other night, Stephen. But again, it was one of the ones performances that don't surprise me for Callum McGregor, because I just think he's a top player.
A player that Celtic, if we let him go, we couldn't replace, to be honest.
Yeah, he'd be struggling.
Unless we had a award test of 40-50 million quid. That's how highly I rate him. I just think he's fantastic. But as you said, Cameron Carter-Vickers is another guy who's came in on loan with apparently that option to buy from Tottenham. And I think he's slotted in perfectly to the centre-half position. I mean, there's question marks over Starfelt as defensive partner, but that seems to be, at the moment, Postecoglou's preferred too. But don't know when Julian's back, albeit he keeps posting pictures on Instagram with the wee time thing. So it must be very soon. But just touch upon Carter Vickers. When he first came in, obviously he was on loan at Bournemouth last season, and they all ranted and raved about him, saying he was a cracking player. They actually wanted him back, I believe, but he chose to come to us. And what I'm seeing from him is he's not flashy. He doesn't try mad things. He doesn't sprint out from the back and take players on, but he's solid, and he adds that bit of experience and calmness, much like Joe Hart's doing as well behind him. I think he's made a fantastic difference to the team. But what's your overall take on Cameron Carter Vickers at the back?
First of all, like to talk about his defensive partner in recent weeks, I think he's came on leaps and bounds. I'm starting to get a wee bit more confident in Starfelt. I think he's due about a wee bit of credit. He's certainly coming on. But yeah, Cameron Carter Vickers, like you say, I wouldn't class him as a no nonsense defender, but he's of that ilk. He likes a tackle. He likes the aerial battle and that, and he's so commanding that. And I actually think Starfelt prefers that type of role as well. I don't think any of them really want to be the ball playing defender and stuff. They're obviously doing it because that's the sort of philosophy he wants to play. But yeah, I think Cameron Carter Vickers is another deal I would really like to get done just against him. He just is very commanding, a proper old school defender. Something we've lacked in the last couple of seasons, I think, in central defence. I feel we have been a wee bit weak and get bullied a bit. And if you've got guys like I don't actually know how tall he is. It doesn't look the tallest, but he's definitely got a big frame. He looks a big boy. Like he looks a really a strong laddie and stuff. And equally, Starfelt's the same. So and maybe when Julian comes back, you've got like the tall guys, so you've got the presence and stuff. So I just think that can be a good base to sort of start from if you've got defenders that like to defend first and foremost. Like we, as much as we like always were in Team Barcast, at the end of the day, you just want your keeper to make saves, and much like your defenders, I just want them to make tackles at the end of the day. If they can start pinging 50, 60-yard diagonal passes over the midfield to the attackers, then I guess that's just a Brucey bonus at the end of the day. But yeah, Carter Vickers is impressing me and stuff, and as a deal I would also like to get done, because it gives you that continuity. You need to try, and a good team has always got a good spine. So like you say, Joe Hart's not really done any wrong, apart from maybe the Betis game. But yes, and then your defence, Carter Vickers has been solid. Starfelt's coming into it. McGregor's just got to be McGregor, and then you've got Kyle go through the middle, who's just been a revelation. So there's a nucleus, a great spine there, and that's great for any team. When you've got a solid, good spine in a team, it's a good basis to sort of build on success and build a team on it.
I think as well, you make a great point in terms of Starfelt. I think, to be fair, we've questioned him countless times, even though he's been that Celtic for a matter of months and we thought he's been shaky. But I think the last 2 or 3 games, especially the one against Ferancvaros, he's coming into his own, and I think he's starting to have a wee bit more confidence in himself, even though it's passing the ball, but he's trying it and he's getting it sometimes. Obviously, it takes a while to learn a kind of new philosophy under a different manager, but the signs are looking good for them too. But I want to throw in a wee wild card here before we move on, and that's Diamakis. He come on, number 7 jersey, obviously famous within Celtic, but one thing I noticed straight away is this guy gets stuck in, and he'll try a shot from anywhere. He chested that one down, took it on the bicycle kick. The confidence he has already within himself to do that, it just shows you he scores goals. He was the top goal scorer for a reason in the Dutch league, which is probably, if not a better standard than the league we play in. Do you know what I mean? So there's a pedigree about him. He roughed up their defenders. He got stuck in. He won flick-ons. He took the ball in as well, and he held it up. And I think going forward, there could be maybe, I wouldn't say a wee partnership with him and Kyogo, but he's definitely going to get used more, maybe start more games, I believe anyway. But what's your opinion on him?
Yeah, I wouldn't say really impressed. It was hard to say really impressed, but I was impressed by him. Like you say, that one where he chested it and done the sort of a bicycle kick, I think that shows confidence from a guy that's still looking for his first goal. I know he's not had a lot of chances to get that, but that showed a bit of confidence. I mean, the chest, to take it on the chest the way he did and just actually control it, like it was not like a snapshot, I feel like, where he was reaching for it. controlled it perfectly. So he looked a real presence. He looks again he looks tall, and you can see he's a bit bulky as well. So he looks like he'll give us a presence up top when we maybe require it. He looks like he'll bully some boys and stuff, and it doesn't look any slouch at him. By no means is he a Kyogo, but with pace. But he's definitely got some good movement, a bit of pace. He looks like he could be a fairly useful player. And like I say, in NBA, some games might require going the two up top, whether you're chasing a goal or just maybe to start for, just depending on the team. You might actually play two up, like just go the old school 4-4-2. It's certainly a formation I would go with sometimes. Teams aren't really expecting two up top, and you might find that we'll do that more in the league games, maybe more so at home. We'll maybe play Kyogo and Giamakis up top and stuff, or even maybe games after Europe, the European games, maybe not on Saturday, because Giamakis is still just trying to find his feet a wee bit with getting up to speed. But maybe in the next few weeks after European games, if you've got a home game in the league, maybe just put Giamakis in, then you've got Kyogo to come off the bench, because they've kind of got to, where possible, I think we need to wrap Kyogo up in cotton wool, just give him the breaks he needs, let him rest, because Kyogo's not actually had a rest. He would have obviously played during the summer and stuff, because like Postecoglou's touched on, the Japanese league sort of from December to December really, so he's not really had the same break as a lot of other players have. But yeah, Giacomakis, I was impressed with what I've seen, and excited to see what he may bring to his team. And I just hope we're giving them the 7 jersey, it's not jinxed them, because there's been guys in the past that have tried to take that jersey on, and it's not worked out for them. So I'm crossing everything for the boy, but he looks like he could be a good asset for us.
Yeah, he's a player I'm definitely looking forward to see more of in the Celtic shirt.
Yeah.
But like on the game itself, I mean, we do have to talk about some not negative issues, but things that stood out to me, and obviously I'll gauge your opinion on it as well. One thing that stood out to me is Montgomery and Ralston, again, for me, shows, now this is a really probably harsh term to use, but their level. They showed their level to me again. I thought Montgomery, albeit he might not have been fully fit in terms of coming back from injury, but he didn't have a really good title on the left-hand side. Ralston, for all his endeavour and effort, he just lacks that final bit that he needs to be a mainstay at Celtic, and that's not no slouch from Ralston. Ralston has played fantastically well in some games. He tailed off a bit there a few weeks back, but he's slowly come back into it. But at just European level, not for me. I think the likes of Juranovic come straight back into the right back position, and people may say I'm harsh, but that's my opinion. People can disagree. On the left-hand side, if Taylor's injured, it's ball and goalie spot for me all day long. I don't know what you think about
that. I would agree on the right-hand side. I think Juranovic comes in all day long, and like you say, I don't want to be overcritical on Ralston, because the guy's not really put a foot wrong. The guy's not actually put a foot wrong, but unfortunately, some boy, you just get to your ceiling point. You're just like, it's going to sound really harsh, but you find your level, and European level it's maybe just a step too far for Ralston. But then to totally contradict that, he's probably his best game for Celtic, especially this season, was at the home leg against Alkmaar. But I'm in agreement with you with Ralston. I think his European level might just be a step too far, but I wouldn't have an issue with him playing there, provided it wasn't instead of Juranovic. Although it's maybe a bit naive saying that, considering we've not seen a lot of Juranovic. What we have seen, I have been impressed by him, but he's not really had a sustained run in the team. He could come in and be absolutely horrendous, so you would actually be, well, we better play Ralston instead. But I think on the face of it, I would have Juranovic before Ralston, but I would not have an issue if, due to fitness and stuff, that Ralston's coming in and playing instead of Juranovic, whether that be in Europe and stuff. But I think Europe is just maybe a step too far for Ralston. But by all means, I hope he proves me wrong anytime he's in there. I just think positionally now, Ralston's getting a wee bit found out. I know they'll try to play the sort of inverted wing backs, but I don't quite think. I mean, this could be me not understanding the role, but I don't think Ralston's totally understanding it. He seems reluctant to stay wide when we have the ball, Ralston. I know that's probably partially down to it, but you've got to be maybe a wee bit more educated, and that could be a factor in why Abada's not playing so well. Because you see, we got like when Montgomery stays out wide a lot, but does come in at times. His first sort of his thought seems to be come into that and back. You're like, well, is that the instruction, or can you try and be a wee bit more educated, mate, and say, right, let's try and spread it a wee bit and just make the pitch wide, give the opposition sort of back or left midfield another option. So potentially if Ralston stays out wide a lot more, it might actually help Abada. But Montgomery's situation is a wee bit different because he looks like he's still got. I'm not too sure left back's actually his best position, Stephen. I think he's probably would be better just further up the pitch. So I suppose your argument would stand then that it's Taylor or Bolingoli, wouldn't it? I don't think Montgomery is the best left back at the football club, but I think that's more down to I think he's better going forward. And I do agree the other night wasn't his best performance in a Celtic jersey, but it was like similar to Ralston. It's not for the want of trying it. I just think with Montgomery on it, things just weren't coming off for him. It just seemed to be whatever he'd done, it just was not coming off for him. But I think Montgomery, I feel, has got the potential to get better. Where I think Ralston, I'm not too sure if Ralston will get there. But Montgomery, I think, has got the potential. But I think it's more going forward, like maybe further up the park would suit Montgomery better.
I think that as well. I mean, I'm not writing off Montgomery by all means, definitely not. I just think personally, for me, as I said, that Bolingoli or Greg Taylor's your two most experienced left backs, and when they're fit and available, you play them. Obviously, Bolingoli wasn't available for the Europa League squad. Again, we don't know the circumstances behind that. But in terms of Ralston,
was it?
yeah, that's very true. But I mean, in terms of Ralston, we'll have to tip our hat to him. He did make a goal-saving challenge in the game against Ferancvaros. It was a fantastic challenge. He came from the right-hand side.
He seems to have that in him. He seems to do that every now and again. Like
he done it against Alkmaar as well. So, I mean, it is harsh. I'll probably get stick for it. But again, it's just opinions surrounding Celtic, and everyone's entitled to their own. But look, that result, the 2-0 victory against Fernandez leaves us third in a Europa League group, 4 points off but Real Betis in second place. So the signs are looking good. If we get another victory away to Fernandez in the return kind of fixture, we could probably kind of set our hats on that we're going to be guaranteed some sort of European football into the new year, whether it be Conference League or the next stage, Europa League. We'll find that out. But look, one thing I want to touch upon is the 3:30 kickoff, and there was what's kind of speculation about crowd sizes and things like that, and empty seats. It would have looked bad for TV. Do you know what I mean? But again, this is what we were dealt with, and I couldn't believe the attendance, Francis, to be honest. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And obviously there's been a few jokes flying around that there were so many kids off school, sick notes were flying around work, and people were just at Celtic Park. And see, to be honest, I have to admit, when I was younger, now back in the younger days when Celtic were playing, I couldn't go into work. So I couldn't concentrate. I would always be off my game, and because Celtic are playing, but obviously as you get older you get used to that. But I can see where they were coming from, just packing out that stadium and being there for Celtic, and it was incredible, wasn't it, to see that?
Oh no, it was absolutely amazing. I think, what was the attendance? Was it 50,000 they said? But
I 50,442 or something.
I don't know. I mean, it certainly looked very accurate, but what they would obviously base that on as well, I don't think they actually base that on how many comes through the gates. That'll be ticket sales, so it might be slightly under that. But if it's under that, it's not by thousands anyway. That the stadium looked very, very full. It looked, obviously it was not close. It's still a good 10,000 short of capacity, but it was a very packed stadium. I think the 50,000 that was reported is very close, very close. But yeah, it was, considering the kick-off time on a Tuesday afternoon, yeah, it was really nice to see that. And Joe Hart summed up well, saying that the players deserve to give the fans that type of performance. And I'm not going to sit and slate anybody if they've pulled a wee sickie or done anything to get away early and whatever, kids staying off. I mean, I can remember when Scotland got to the World Cup in '94, my dad kept me off school so I could see the opening game against Brazil and stuff. So, and then, I mean, I'm not actually with this employer anymore, so my current employer will not getting bothered. But when Brendan Rodgers was announced, I actually left my work a good hour and a half early, so I could go and see Brendan Rodgers getting involved. So it's, I mean, other clubs follow it. It's just what you do to follow your club. Sometimes, right? Well, probably wrongly. Sometimes work and family take a back seat a wee bit when the Celtic are involved in it.
It's one of them things. Me and my granddad always speak about this, and even him at his age 9, he still gets affected by it if he can't see the game or even listen to the radio. He's not himself. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them things, and that's been passed down to me, and it's like that's why I take jobs that I don't have to work weekends. But again, as you said, it's what people do, and no one's in any position to give anyone grief about it. That it was fantastic. It made for a great atmosphere, and we got the win. And we're in with a shout for European football after Christmas, which is great. But we're going to turn our attention to the league form, and we welcome St Johnstone, the domestic double cup winners of last season, to Celtic Park at 3 p.m, which is fantastic. Again, another 3 p.m. kickoff. Probably another full house to look forward to at Celtic Park. But get into the game anyway. Off the two results, I mean the win against Motherwell, Fernandez-Faros, 2 clean sheets as well, which is kind of not associated with Celtic in recent past, but get into it anyway. I'm confident we can get the win. St Johnstone sit 8th in the table. We're 4th. So I'm not being harsh here, but as you said, we should be beating teams like this, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident. St Johnstone haven't had a great start. I don't know how they're playing, if it's just they've been unlucky, but like, what was it? It was Livingston that beat them last weekend. I think it was Livingston because I had St Johnstone my coom. Aye, so they got beat last week off Livingston and stuff. So yeah, they've not had the greatest of starts. We seem to be finding a bit of form, and then 2 of the games have been tricky away grounds, or what a lot of folk perceived as tricky away grounds. Yeah, the Aberdeen game was crappy, but it was a result we all enjoyed, considering the performance. And Motherwell game was obviously one of the most convincing 2-0 victories and comfy victories we probably have this season, equal the Ferancvaros game. So we've had 3 good results on the spin, and you just want to go, hopefully can go into the weekend and carry it on. And like you say, it's your old school traditional 3 o'clock kickoff, Stephen, at home. I mean, if there was 50,000 at a Tuesday game at 3:30, then I can't see no reason why there'll not be all but a full house due to, I think, social distancing is still in place in Scotland in these type of events. So there will be some empty seats to accommodate that, but at least we won't be like Hibs. You'll actually be able to see that social distancing still I think still a thing up here. Whereas at Hibs Stadium, they can't fill their stadium to show this. So yeah, I think it'll be
Where's Hibs? Where's Hibs come into this?
because it's just they can't fill up their stadium. It's just one of the, it was actually a point from work we were talking about Hibs today, mate, and it made me think about that. That joke came up, and
I mean,
but I done a John there. I've just went away and naming random things to get back to my original point. And
swings and roundabouts, Francis, doesn't it?
yes, and but yeah, I've got full confidence in the team. The way they're playing, they'll, like I say, winning breeds confidence. We're playing a nice sort of brandy football. There is moments, yeah, we're not seem to be doing the high press as much, but maybe that's a wee bit of Postecoglou saying, look, I need to get the players in that I need to get them at a fitness level before I can go back to that. So I need to maybe play a certain way now, because it does seem in the last couple of weeks a different sort of we're picking and choosing when we sort of do the press a wee bit. I feel it looks quite deliberate in how that we're not doing it as much, and we're only doing it in certain circumstances. So that's maybe just shows the type of manager Postecoglou is. He can adapt, unlike a lot of folk in the media that claim that it's plan A, or if that doesn't work, it's plan A, do it better and stuff like that. So it's a great chance to put a bit of pressure on the rivals across the city as well, Stephen, who have got a tricky away game on the Sunday. I think it is against our nemesis in Livingston at the Tony Macaroni Arena. So it's all you can do is win your game on Saturday, puts a bit of pressure on the game on Sunday, and whatever comes of that comes of that. If the team across the city win, then there's not much you can do. You've done your bit, Stephen. So it's all we can do right now is do our job on the park, which I'm confident we'll do, and what will be will be.
What will be will be. That's a song, isn't it? I think it is. It started a
Wow.
song, but
Brilliant.
but I think you're correct. I mean, the free time kickoff, St Johnson, in circumstances, Celtic should be kind of beating them comfortably. I mean, it's not being harsh. Again, it's just the way I stand the things. I thought the excuse culture that I've seen kind of seeping into some quarters of the Celtic fan base. I didn't like it in terms of all this. It's a whole new team transition, blah 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 blah. But we should still have enough in the tank to smash every other SPL team, and that's just being brutally honest about it. Obviously, we're going to have off days, and I think you make an excellent point, by the way, Francis, in terms of the approach to play. I've clocked up from the get go in the last couple of games. We're not kind of high pressing teams up the park as we usually done. We're like sitting back and kind of inviting them into certain areas of the pitch, and then bang, we press. Where at the start of the season, it was bang, 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 and then all the other opposition teams were doing was putting the ball over the top, space in behind, scoring a goal, or the usual set piece goal that kills us the majority of the time. But I think as well, what Postecoglou is showing there, that he's not kind of coming away from the style. He's adapting to what he's seeing on the pitch, and it's a thing that the Scottish media seem to pigeonhole him with, that he can adapt, as you say. Plan A, do it better. Plan A, do it quicker. Blah blah blah. It's always negative, negative, negative against the way he wants to play. And Postecoglou's been very open and honest that he's not going to change that philosophy. I think he's tweaked it, which you can do. You can tweak things, make things better until he gets the caliber of player he wants in to play that style for 90 minutes. And I'm sure that's his aim. That's his long-term goal for Celtic. But for now, he did need to adapt it. We all could see it. And you can see it now on the pitch, and especially against Ferancvaros. I was expecting gung-ho, gung-ho, gung-ho. But Celtic they were disciplined. They kept their shape. They pressed them in certain areas of the pitch, won the ball, created chances. Yes, Ferancvaros had chances as well, but not as many as we were conceding early in the season. And I thought that was a great sign. Another clean sheet for the defence, a wee bit more confidence for the goalkeeper. And it's great signs for the Celtic team altogether. But I don't know if you've seen the Postecoglou thing on Twitter, have you? The Australian media made. It's basically a video of all his comebacks to the Scottish media, and it's fantastic. If anyone,
a lot of good ones in there.
If anyone hasn't watched it or seen it, go. It's 3 minutes long. Search for it on Twitter. You'll get a laugh, honestly, because when he first walks through the door, he's been just underestimated.
Yeah.
And to be fair, yes, people have questioned him, but again, when things go wrong, it's that you're allowed to question things, and I'm not going to make any apologies over that. But speaking in terms, as you said, in terms of targets and what we're looking to go forward, have you seen the Celtic are linked to a Brazilian guy called Fernando Henrique?
Yeah, I've seen that on Twitter.
Yeah. From Grêmio, the Brazilian team. Yeah, and he's a Brazilian under-20 international defensive midfielder, and it's kind of what we need. We need that midfield packed again. We've lost some key players there, but I just want to touch upon the markets. Obviously, the Brazil market is one Celtic's never really tapped into in terms of going there directly. Yes, we've had the likes of Janino, players like that, but never really coming from the Brazilian league. Do you think if we're plucking players from there and Japan, Australia, wherever it may be, it's a good sign?
It shows we're casting the net far and wide. Obviously, without getting a lot of political and stuff, like I think the Brexit deal is kind of makes the markets like the Brazilian one a wee bit easier when it comes to work permits and stuff. So it's maybe just taking advantage of certain rules now and stuff. So it's one of like the Japanese market, obviously being with Postecoglou is managed lately, and then obviously the success of Kyogo, whether it'll only be for a few months, there seems no reason why he's not got to continue that on for however long he's at Celtic. So if we dip into the Japanese market again, it wouldn't surprise me. The Brazilian one slightly does, but you look at teams like Shakhtar Donetsk and things like that, they and then even I think like the Austrian teams are quite, or they're maybe more like African players. So yeah, teams like Shakhtar Donetsk and stuff, they seem to be able to take advantage of sort of be able to get some of the best Brazilian talent now. I'm not saying this guy's got to be a superstar, but you just never know. It's a position I do want us to strengthen, and is a good. I think we just need that solid solid bastard type player in the middle of the park, and that, like, I've said that before, and I got stick for it. I'd probably get, like, we need a Ryan Jack type boy in there, a guy that just breaks up play, gives it to somebody to do their job. That's what he does. Like, Sorrow with all the, like, Sorrow looked like he could be that guy, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he's cut out for it. I've no confidence in that guy. He's a bundle of energy, but that's about it. I think we need a Ryan Jack type player, and if there's any truth in this Brazilian boy, let's just hope the last time we went straight to the German market and brought a Brazilian guy here, he turns out better than him. I mean, we all know the infamous Rafael Scheidt, but I think that was the last time we actually bought someone straight from the Brazilian league. So fingers crossed, he only needs to be about 5% better than him, and he'll be a half decent player. But yeah, let's hope he's not that one and more. I know Juninho necessarily wasn't a success, but he was still a really good player at times for Celtic. Let's hope he's more of that type player than the Rafael Scheidt one that we brought in.
Well, as you said, it wouldn't be that hard to be a better player than him. I mean, Celtic were still paying his wages up until like 2005, which is just incredible. But like, we'll move on to our usual lineup and score predictions. I'll go first on the lineup. I'm going to go 4-4-2. Obviously not going to happen, but I just want to see a wee bit of experimentation to see if it does. And I'll go Joe Hart in goal. I don't know the situation with Ivanovic, so I'll put Ralston back in there. Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Bolingoli to come back in. And I'll put Yada on the right, Turnbull, Mcgregor in the middle, with Johnson on the left, with Giamakis and Kyogo up front. Now, probably will never, ever happen that way, but again, I'd just like to see it. I mean, it's at home. I mean, it's our ground, so we can try things. What about yourself, Ronnie?
Well, I wouldn't be against that team, Stephen, but I'm going to be pretty bold, and I think it'll be, well, Hart will obviously be in goals with your Cameron Carter, Vickers, and Starfelt at the back. I think Ralston will play simply. I'm on your boat. I don't know where Ivanovic is yet, and the fact that he wasn't on the bench the other night suggests that he won't be ready for Saturday. I agree with you. I think Bolingoli will come back in. I don't know if the performance from Montgomery was down to fitness, confidence. Just he didn't have his best game, and maybe it was a wee bit of fitness. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bolingoli comes back in. I think he'll go with the same midfield, but I think it'll be McGregor, Turnbull, and Rogic. I think that'll go. I actually think that it might be Yota out right and Mikey Johnson out left, and I think he'll play Kyogo up front. So the only real surprise for me would be if Mikey Johnson comes in, and then obviously pushes over that. Because for me, if Bolingoli comes in, I know he's only came in for 2 games and then been bombed out for weeks after it. But for me right now, it wouldn't be a surprise Bolingoli coming in. The only surprise would be Mikey Johnson because he's just back. But I don't think it'd be the worst thing to do, bring Mikey Johnson in instead of Abada.
Yeah, just again, as we said before, just to give Abada a bit of a rest within himself. I think he needs that. He's only 19. Do you know what I mean? He's played a shared load of games already for Celtic, European, domestic.
It also gives him that we kick up the run, going, look, you've got to fight for your places. You'll not be performing. Yeah, you're not in the team now. Yeah.
Great point. Especially when James Forrest comes back, there'll be a battle between them two. But come to yourself, score predictions. What we're going for?
I think 3-0, and I think Kyogo will score 1. I think Yota will score 1. I think the big Greek goddess will come on. The new Greek goddess, big Giamakis. I think he'll come on and get his first goal for Celtic.
I'll go 5-0. I'll go Kyogo to get 2. Kyogo to get 2. Jada to get 1. Turnbull to get the other. And Giamakis to get the other. So that's my goal scores. I think when Giamakis scores, it'll just send him on to another level in terms of confidence. He'll probably start banging them in quite regularly for Celtic. But look, again, the Deadly Duo does it again, brings it to the end of the show. And what I want to say to the people who are listening, we appreciate all your support and all your comments, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, when we put up our videos and stuff. We do greatly appreciate it. And just one thing I want to say to you is just keep an eye out for our 67th episode. We are fast approaching it. And we may or may not have a big surprise for you as well. So just keep tuned. And Francis, keep tight-lipped on it. Throwing out a wee teaser there. So to the listeners, just keep tuned and maybe we surprise coming next week for you. But have you enjoyed this one, Francis?
Yeah, it's been very good, Steve. It's they're getting good, these podcasts, when you're talking about Celtic winning all the time.
That's very true. Instead of all the doom and gloom that we're
Yeah.
used to. But again, when Celtic win or Celtic lose, we come on and give our opinion, and that's just the way it is. And everyone's entitled to it. But again, to everyone who's listening, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.